Welcome back to another episode. We're very excited to have you here today. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, now would be a great time, as the Fremont factory is now open and we are getting reports that Tesla is scheduling delivery for many of you who are waiting for your Model Y to deliver. So today we're going to take the time to talk about a delivery checklist. Although this isn't official or anything like that, this is just my list of recommendations of things to take a look at before you take delivery. Let's check it out. So you've ordered your Tesla Model Y and you may have received your notification to be prepared for delivery. That's a pretty exciting time, as I know for myself how excited I was. But to be honest with you, being a part of the first batch and the first round of cars that came out, I just kind of showed up and started looking the car over. Had I had a guide or used experiences of other deliveries, I would have known to look for some things a little bit closer at time of delivery. One of the things that Tesla has been really good about is addressing issues that pop up along the way. You may hear your delivery specialist talk about goodwill, and it's just a term that they're using to say, well, we're not required to do this. But there are not many examples of people who haven't had their issues addressed after they take delivery. All that said, it's really important that when you go to take delivery to point things out, because this is your chance to document the things that you're noticing that need to be addressed on the car. So with this guide, hopefully you'll be able to take a look at some of the bigger items that may have an issue based on other people's experiences, and you can use that to help you generate your list of items so that it's documented at time of delivery. By doing that, later on down the road when parts become available or you're ready to have things addressed, it'll be documented and it'll be known as a pre-delivery issue. And this is important because you don't want to have any issues down the road where Tesla says, well, that issue is because, you created it later. So in the spirit of things, I've jotted down the items that I think you should take a look at delivery. So let's begin. So first and foremost, I noticed on my vehicle as well as some others that the pillars on the front of the vehicle, some of them have dings on them. I do have one on my passenger side, as I'll show you, but go ahead and point that out and make sure that they get a picture of that, because that is something that'll require some actual body work to fix. Number two, goes without saying, panel gaps. There's going to be panel gap issues around the car, and it's best to go ahead and point them out now. Now they may push back and say this is within spec, and they'll probably say that about most, if not all, of the panel gaps. But go ahead and mention them. Go ahead and get it documented now, so that way if they come up with a solution later and agree that they should be addressing them, then it'll be documented from the beginning. Number three, trim gaps. There are nice plastic black trim around the vehicle, and because it's a more utility vehicle, that actually adds protection from the vehicle from things getting kicked up from the road, from impacting your paint, like we saw in a lot of the early Model 3s, where that's a painted surface. So go ahead and take a look at those. There's definitely alignment issues, and you'll see them. I'll show them here. You'll see those alignment issues. They don't line up right. So make sure you point those out, get that documented. Number four, trim scratches on the window. There's a known bug with these windows, and if you didn't check out my video earlier, these windows for some reason may not open up when you open the door, and the problem is when that window doesn't go down, that window is above the bottom of the black trim, and that's a powder coated surface. So this may have already happened during delivering the vehicle to your service center. So go ahead and take a look at all the trim and make sure there's no scratches. And also be aware that this is a known issue, so when you're opening the doors, be careful and pay attention to make sure that window does go down. Number 5, taillight fitment. This is another big one that's very present and visible on a lot of Tesla Model Ys that I've seen. These taillights are not seated correctly. When mobile service came out to my house, he was showing me what the issue was, and it's really just a matter of one of the corners is not, you know, grabbing on tightly as it's being pushed in there. So there's no way to really straighten them out yet. So go ahead and point those out so that they can get replaced down the road once there's a supply chain in place. Number 6, headlight fitment. It goes the same as the taillights. Go ahead and check those out, see how flush they are, make a judgment call on your own whether it bothers you or not, but go ahead and document it now. Number 7, door handles operate. This is a pretty basic one. Open all 4 doors and make sure that those levers operate the way that they should. They shouldn't be binding up. They should be operating freely. Number 8, the lift gate sometimes has a click, and I believe I've discovered what is creating that click. When it opens up, there's a piece of trim that is pointed on the edge, and depending on how clean that piece of trim was molded, it is, I believe, catching on the gasket around the opening of the trunk. So when that thing opens, it's catching and it's pulling, and then snap, and it makes a clicking sound. So check that out, open it a few times and see if you have that issue. Number 9, when you're closing the frunk on this car, the trunk in the front, the material of that hood is very thin and it gives very easily, and more so than the Model 3. So you're going to need to be gentle when you close that frunk because it does give very, very easily. It's a good idea to go ahead and check, make sure there's no dents in it already. It seems like an area that would be susceptible to denting pretty easily, in my opinion. So go ahead and check that out. Number 10, check all the wheels, whether you have the induction wheels, whether you have the Uber turbine wheels, whether you have the Gemini wheels. Check them all out and make sure that they're not scratched. Most Teslas come with wheels that the wheel is exposed beyond where the tire is, so they're very easy to get rash and to hit things and scuff. And so this is your chance to check those out. I would look them over very close because wheels are very expensive, and if you can get them to fix it or replace them now, you're covered. Next, a couple Model Y owners, perhaps this was due to early deliveries, have shown that they're missing a tow hook. So the tow hook is in the front. Go ahead and check and make sure it's there. Number 13, check for your charging cable. Charging cable should be in the trunk of the car, whether that's underneath the compartments or on just laying there in the trunk. Open it up, check it out, make sure it's there, and you should be good. Number 14, the cargo covers, make sure that they're in good shape. Make sure they're not like, they should not be giving, they should not feel like it's moving around or anything. Make sure they're sturdy. I've heard of a couple of them broken, so check those out for sure. Number 15, make sure that the back seats fold both by the button in the trunk as well as the button on the back of the seat. Check both sides when you do this. There's plenty of examples where one side doesn't fold or whatever, so check that out for sure. Next, another issue from some of the early delivery models was the back seat covers. For some reason, a lot of these, the clips, I believe, are broken, or even the whole panel is broken, so they're not real tight and put up. Some of them are even just laying out. So check those back seat covers and make sure that those are in good shape. Number 17 is another good one to go ahead and check out. The USB-C ports in the back. I would bring a USB-C cable with you with your phone and plug into each port and make sure that they function properly. I have not heard of any not working, but it's a good check nonetheless. Number 18, overall check the seats and make sure they're not scuffed or damaged. There's plenty of seats that got beat up during delivery process, so make sure that your seats are in good shape, both the material and as well as the sides of them, the molding and everything. Number 19, the center console, check that out, see for scratches or anything major. A lot of people are going to wrap these. You very well might wrap it yourself, but it's a good idea to go ahead and check those and make sure that you don't have any major scratches. As well as the center console, make sure the screen doesn't have any scratches. That sounds pretty straightforward and basic, but a good check nonetheless. That is a big, expensive item in this car, so you want it to be in the right shape. Number 20, check both the front seats. Make sure that they adjust both forward, backwards, as well as recline and sitting up. Check that lumbar support also. Just make sure it all functions right. It should. Number 21, check the floor mats. Make sure they're in good shape. Make sure they're all there, as a matter of fact, and no major stains or rips or anything like that. Number 22, the wireless charging that comes in this vehicle is awesome. That's a great addition to the standard equipment in this vehicle. A lot of people had to buy those aftermarket in previous models, so that is an awesome adder. Put your phone on both sides. Make sure both operate correctly, just to be sure. Number 23, this is a big one in my opinion. The headliner and the coat hooks. My vehicle has scratches and dirt and grime on it from them assembling the vehicle. So check that out. That's a big one that you're going to want to take a good look at. Document everything. It's in a couple of different pieces, so make sure both or all pieces are in good shape. Otherwise, document it now so it can be replaced with a brand new one. Another thing that came up that's really weird, I'm having a hard time getting it on camera. My windshield actually has a blemish in it where it looks like the material was deformed in a spot, and it's very low, straight and center. And I'll continue to try to get video of it, but check your window all around and make sure it is in good shape. That is definitely a defect that I have not seen elsewhere, but a major annoying one. Number 25, the steering wheel. That's another one of those items. It's a touch point as they're delivering these vehicles and assembling these vehicles. Make sure there's no major gashes or scratches on it. This is your one chance. This item, they will not go back on later because you're touching it every day. Make sure it's in good shape, no scratches, no tears or anything like that. Also on the back of the steering wheel, check for holes and major scratches there, as well, as we've seen reports of some pretty weird anomalies on the back of these steering wheels. 26, ensure the charging works. This sounds pretty basic, but you know, ask them if you can plug it in. They'll let you plug it in, and just sit there and let it ramp up to start charging, and just make sure that it functions how it should. Next, open and close the glove box. Sounds pretty basic, but it's another one of those items that could have an issue before you take delivery. Make sure that the backup camera works. That's another basic one. You can either turn it on manually or put the vehicle in reverse. It doesn't matter either way, but it's a good idea to check to make sure that there's no issues there, so that it can be replaced if needed. The sound system check. That sounds pretty straightforward. I would put on some good music and turn the volume up and really let the system play. Make sure none of the speakers are not working right or whatever. So it's a good check. Another item, make sure that the mirrors fold. I would go ahead and do that manually, and you can set that to automatically fold when you walk away from the vehicle and it locks, but just make sure that those operate how they're supposed to. Next, check all the lights. That's a very basic one, but just make sure that you don't have any lights that aren't illuminated. Even check the turn signals and the hazards and all that. And then finally, my last item, make sure that the wipers both operate and that they're in good shape. Otherwise, they'll just need to be replaced, and you'll want to get that checked out from the beginning. So there you have it. That is my recommended list of items to check out before you take delivery of your new Tesla Model Y. These are exciting times. I hope that your vehicle comes very soon and you get to enjoy all it has to offer, because there's quite a bit to offer in the Tesla Model Y. If you've liked this video and you think it's been helpful, go ahead and click that like button. I really appreciate it. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel. If you hit the notifications button, you'll be notified every time that we upload another video. And we continue to upload videos that hopefully bring good value to you, good content that's useful for you. So thanks again for stopping by, and we'll catch you on the next one.